At the conclusion of this presentation, students should be able to explain how to control alcohol admission at a wedding, demonstrate how to properly serve alcohol, and recognize how much to serve and when to stop serving alcohol at a wedding.
Understanding the alcohol law and your responsibilities. Legal liabilities as a seller or server of alcohol are: most states may hold you criminally liable if you serve alcohol to a minor, serve a guest who appears to be intoxicated, possess, sell, or allow the sale of drugs on the premise. Civil liabilities include liable for selling alcohol to an intoxicated person when damages or injuries were caused by that person, can be sued or forced to pay damages to an injured guest.
Guests must be of legal age to enter a liquor primary establishment and to order beverage alcohol in any type of liquor serving operation. You have the right and responsibility to ensure all guests are of legal age. Remember, you are under no obligation to allow entry or provide service. It is up to the guest to provide proof of age. The person whose job it is to check ID must check all people who appear to be close to or under the legal age. The establishment should provide a well-lit, quiet, secure space to perform guest checks. Tools including a flashlight with extra batteries, confidential electronic card scanner, reader, blacklight, magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, and an up-to-date resource that lists acceptable IDs are important. These days, hairstyles and colors can be changed easily. Look at facial features like height and positioning of cheekbones and the spacing between the eyes. Gender, height, and weight information are worth checking as well. If the card is in a plastic sleeve, wallet, or purse, ask to have it removed. Look for wrinkles, bubbling, or peeling. Run your fingers over the card's face and edges to check that the seals are intact. Note inappropriate raised or bumpy surfaces or uneven edges. Counterfeiters will often spend a disproportionate amount of time on the front of a fake ID, but merely photocopy the back. Look for blurred lettering or lack of focus. Check the date of birth and expiration date. Do not accept any expired IDs. This may seem simple, but it is often overlooked. If out-of-province ID is presented, you should have a current book of valid IDs close at hand. There are references available that show examples of valid North American IDs. Have a copy at the door and backup copies stored in the office. If you are not sure of a piece of ID's authenticity, you must refuse entry and alcohol service to that individual. Examine the secondary supporting ID with the same vigilance you use for the primary piece. If you are still unsure, ask for a third piece of ID. If you suspect an ID to be false or tampered with, request that the person verify their signature. To test the signature, ask the person to sign and date a piece of paper and compare it to the ID. Make eye contact. Ask them random questions. What high school did they go to? What year did they graduate? How old were they? What is their zodiac or Chinese horoscope sign? What does their middle initial stand for? How do they spell their name? What is their postal code? There should be no hesitation in answering any of these questions. Watch for body language and behavior. Look for signs of nervousness. Darting eyes and fidgeting may be signs of someone trying to pass off a fake ID. Are they trying to distract you with questions about the band? If this guest is being flirtatious or acting over-friendly, avoid distractions and scrutinize the ID. By having well-trained and disciplined floor staff as an example, guests tend to be more respectful of the environment and behave in a more positive manner. Most likely, minors will choose to try their luck somewhere else where the threshold of professionalism is not so high, and where rules or procedures may be broken or ignored.
At the conclusion of this presentation, staff should be able to demonstrate how to effectively and efficiently serve alcohol at a special event such as a wedding. Alcohol calculators are tools used by alcohol serving agencies to help them calculate BAC, or blood alcohol content, by using comparative charts that use alcohol percentages and duration of ingestion as its main factors. Body weight and types of alcohol are also taken into consideration. The temperature of an alcoholic beverage can affect the taste of the beverage. Most beers, depending on the type, are chilled from 35 to 50 degrees. Red wine is generally served at 62 to 68 degrees, while white wine is generally served at 49 to 55 degrees. Using appropriate glassware affects the taste by directing the beverage to certain taste receptors on the tongue through the curvature in the glassware. It also helps increase airflow and stays cooler longer than plastic. Beer is poured on a 45-degree angle and will be demonstrated via video later in the presentation.
Understanding blood alcohol content. Blood alcohol content is the legal measurement of amount of alcohol in a person's blood stated in a percentage. A BAC of 0.10 means there is about 1 drop of alcohol for every 1,000 drops of blood in the bloodstream. Driving with a BAC of 0.08 or higher is against the law in all 50 states. A BAC of 0.30 or higher can lead to a coma or death. Some people have had an easier time than others recognizing when someone has had enough to drink. Do realize that it is against the law to continue serving alcohol to someone who is clearly too intoxicated to think properly or rationally. Some ways that you can recognize when someone is drunk are slurred speech, smell of liquor on their breath, glassy eyes, stumbling, slow motor reflexes, cannot pay attention or hold conversation for more than a few seconds, falling down or causing a scene. If you have noticed anyone who is portraying one or more of these symptoms, it is very likely that they have had too much to drink. While trying to prevent intoxication, things you can do as an employee are offer food. This is one of the most important things you can do to help prevent intoxication. Offer food that is high in fat or in protein. Avoid food that is high in sugar. Avoid food that is salty, like peanuts, pretzels, and chips. Make a guest more thirsty and cause them to drink more alcohol is the result of eating salty foods. Offer water. Drinking alcohol causes dehydration, making the guest more thirsty and more willing to drink more alcohol. Avoid overpouring while mixing drinks. Avoid serving the guest more than one drink at one time. To prevent too much alcohol from ruining your glorious day, you need to control how much your guests consume. Since many couples feel an open bar is necessary to keep their guests happy, controlling alcohol at weddings can be very difficult. There are ways to allow drinking at a wedding while avoiding overindulgence. A cash bar can help prevent guests from drinking too much by limiting the amount of alcohol each guest will drink. This follows the theory that if guests are forced to pay for their own drinks, they are likely to drink less. Limiting the alcohol selections your guests have, limiting the hours your bar stays open and available, having a dry wedding where there is no alcohol available. You should appoint a designated watcher. This person will keep an eye out for any guests who are getting overly drunk during the reception. Keep your guests fed and hydrated. Food is the best way to soak up alcohol in someone's stomach. It slows the rate of alcohol absorption in the body. Hydration is also key to preventing alcohol overindulgence. Soft drinks, water, and non-alcoholic punch will have guests hydrated without forcing guests to turn to alcohol.
Among the many potential risks involved with serving alcohol at special events such as weddings, the most prevalent are increased aggression and fights. underage drinking and sales to minors, alcohol poisoning from too much intoxication, potential fire hazard risks with alcohol, and possible property damage.
Handling intoxicated guests. When is the right time to cut your guests off? If they show physical or behavioral signs of intoxication, if you are concerned about the number of drinks they've had. The cutoff process. Step 1. Alert a backup. The backup person must be prepared to help, close enough to observe, not too close they appear threatening. Step 2. Enlist the help of other guests. Wait until the intoxicated guest steps away. Ask the guest's companion to help stop service. Step 3. Wait until the guest orders the next round before stopping service. If you notice that a guest is becoming intoxicated, you must stop service immediately. Step 4. Tell the guest you are stopping service. Always keep the conversation private. To prevent a conversation, 1. Don't be judgmental. Never use you statements. Say things like, our company policy doesn't allow me to serve you any more alcohol. 2. Express concern and be genuine. Tell a guest that you are concerned about his or her safety. Say things like, I just want to make sure you get home okay. 3. Express empathy. Show the guest that you understand how he or she is feeling. Make sure you maintain eye contact while talking to the guest, and nod and shake your head when appropriate. Say things like, I know this is frustrating or annoying, but I'm concerned about your safety. 4. Be firm. Guests will often try to persuade you to change your mind or ask for one more drink. Once you have made the decision to stop service, stick to it.
Risk management strategies would include hiring a security staff to reduce the risk of fights and other potential or personal threats, developing an emergency action plan in case of a fire, training bartending staff in proper ID identification techniques to eliminate the risk of underage drinking, training staff to look for intoxicated customers and use proper judgment to cut off customers when needed, serving food, water, and snacks to others to help lower intoxication and BAC to also prevent alcohol poisoning.